Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 8 of the Lebanese Biodiversity Podcast. This episode marks the 2 months since the first episode has been online. My name is Mira, and I am an entomologist. And today we will be speaking to Professor Dany Azar, paleoentomologist and professor at the Nanjing Institute of Geology and Paleontology in China and at the Lebanese University. He is also vice president of Association Paléontologique et Évolutive Libanaise, former president of the International Paleoentomological Society, and vice president of the World Amber Council. We will be talking about insect fossils in amber with Professor Dany today and how all of this started for him, and also the importance of Lebanon in this field of study. I hope you enjoy it. Tell us what you think, and see you on the next one. Hello, Dr. Dany. How are you?
Hello. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yes, well, I'm a professor at the Lebanese University and in the Nanjing Institute of Geology and Paleontology, Chinese Academy of Science. I'm currently the deputy director of the key laboratory of paleobiology and petroleum stratigraphy. And
Okay.
I'm a leader of a research team here in the Nanjing Institute of Geology and Paleontology.
Okay. What was your background? So, what did you study originally, or also what got you interested in this type of study?
This is so complicated, in fact, because I began my studies, my university studies as a genetician, and then I turned to work on the evolution of insects and studying fossil insects. So at the first beginning, I made a master degree in the Lebanese University in zoology and animal physiology. Then I went to France, to Marseille, and I made a DEA, which is a deepened diploma in study, in preparation for a PhD. And it was on molecular biology and genetics, human genetics. Then I went to Paris to make another DEA, and it was on genetics and evolution and biodiversity. So I began my PhD on fossil insects in 1997, and I was in fact the first one to work on completely on fossil insects for a PhD. So my PhD was the first one on entirely on fossil insects that are found in the amber.
Okay.
Then after that, I got my habilitation or accreditation for directing research, HDR, habilitation à diriger des recherches, in the year 2003, and I was the youngest candidate for that diploma, which is the highest diploma that can be given in Europe and in France. And I was convocated by the Minister of Education by that time, who was Jacques Lang, to congratulate me that I'm the youngest for all the history of France to get habilitation.
Well, this is a really impressive parcours. And throughout your studies, when was the first time you came in contact with fossils? And was there a moment when you decided, well, this is what I want to study?
Well, this goes back for a long time. In fact, I was still in my school, in my complementary school. I guess it was the grade 8, where we got some lessons about the fossils, and I was so excited. So I get some fossils from my pocket and show them to my professor by that time. His name was Alain Moumidjian in Mont-la-Salle, and he was assistant at the Lebanese University. He took the fossils I collected and gave them to Dr. Raymond Gez who was a professor at the Lebanese University. And Remonges was so excited. He found that those fossils are very interesting. And he contacted the school where I was in Molasal and took the permission to take me to the field to indicate for him where those fossils are coming from.
Okay.
And from that time, in fact, I was going and collecting fossils almost every week with that gentle guide. And well, later on, I chose to study genetics because I was always impressed by the genetics, and I came to France to study genetics at the beginning. And I was holding some fossils, some fossil insects inside the amber that I found in the area of Hammana in central Lebanon.
Yes.
And well, I told the responsible of the master by that time in Marsilia, Daniel Gros, about the fossils. He said, "Oh, but you know, I know somebody in Paris, André Nel. He's oftenly coming and visiting his parents in just outside Marsilia, just outside Marseille." And well, he told him about the fossil insects I got, and he came from Paris to see me. And from that moment, we were going to collect fossil insects in Aix-en-Provence area and other areas. And he told me, "Danny, why don't you make a PhD on the fossil insects?" I said, "But I'm working on genetics." I said, "Hey, if you don't do it by yourself on fossil insects, nobody will do it." So he convinced me, and then I went to Paris and I began a PhD with him. It was, as I told you before, the first PhD globally, which is on fossil insects entirely.
Okay.
And well, it was a very successful parcours for me because later on I was a founding member, and then I was the president of the IPS, International Paleoentomological Society,
Okay.
which I was its chairman for 2 successive periods. And now I am a world authority on fossil insects. Every year we have something like between 20 and 30 papers. Some of them are in very high profile journals like Nature, like PNAS, like Current Biology, etc.
Okay, this is really great. So actually you discovered fossils at a very young age. You also had the chance of being mentored by someone at a very young age, and eventually your studies or your academic journey ended up going back to them. So ended up going back to fossils. So your projects, from what you tell us, are not only in Lebanon. But can you start
Yes,
by
yes.
telling us what your current projects in Lebanon are, or what have you worked on in Lebanon so far?
Yes, well, in Lebanon, I am working mainly on fossil insects and on amber outcrops. Until
Okay.
now, I have found in Lebanon about 500 outcrops of amber from the lower Cretaceous and upper Jurassic. Uh,
Okay.
about 35 of these outcrops can have fossil inclusion or biological inclusions, which are very, very important for studying the evolution of the insects and other arthropods.
Okay.
So I'm working with different uh, subjects in paleontology and geology and stratigraphy in Lebanon, but also in all types of amber from different parts of the world. So I got some field work in Russia, in the state, in France, several places, and I discovered even one outcrop of amber in France. In China, I discovered 2 new outcrops of amber. I was working also in England, the Natural History Museum of London, in Poland, In most Europe, in fact, I was making some expertises, and well, now as I've told you, I'm leading a large team here in China, in the Nanjing Institute of Geology and Paleontology.
Okay. So just going back to what you were telling us about the amber outcrops that we have in Lebanon, how old are we speaking? So Lower Cretaceous, Upper Jurassic, how many millions of years back are these?
Well, normally, we all know about the movie. This is the American thriller, Jurassic Park.
Yep.
I was always saying that we should not name this movie Jurassic Park, but Cretaceous Park, because till very recently, the oldest fossil insects that can be found in amber were found from the Lebanese amber from the Lower Cretaceous, and
Okay.
exactly from the Barremian period. Barremian here, I mean about 130 million years. So it is very important because this is a unique place in the world, I mean Lebanon, where we can
Yes.
have some evidence of past life or fossils, continental fossils, from the period when the nature invented the flowering plants. So when we
Okay.
say flowering plants, this is uh, a major thing, in fact, that which is in the evolution, because since the apparition of these living things, the flowering plants, everything drastically changed on the earth. Normally we have evolution and co-evolution between pollinators and flowering plants, and even everything changed. Today we have the flowering plants that occupy more than three over four, about 75% of all plants. So they are very, very important. And the only place when we can have the origin of these, or let's say something preserved in the same time when these plants appeared on the earth, it is in Lebanon. So
Okay.
it is 130 million years ago. This is the age of the Lebanese amber from Lower Cretaceous. And recently, I have found, in fact, we described an insect from the amber of the Jurassic of Lebanon, from late Jurassic, from Kimmeridgian, which is 155 million years. So in Lebanon, I have discovered about 20 outcrops from the Jurassic, and one of them, now we have only a single inclusion, but it is very, very important for the studying of the evolution.
Okay, so the importance of studying fossil insects today, as you were saying earlier, is to better understand the evolution of insects now. Can this help us in insect conservation, for example, in the present? Can it give us more insight into this?
Well, in fact, for the conservation, it has not really a lot of relationship, because here we're studying the evolution. So how all the groups were set in the nature, and what are the relationship between the different entomological groups. But there is something which is very important. So we can, with the study of fossils from different ages and from different origins, either they are in the amber or preserved in the rocks, they can give a lot of information about the evolution of the characters for each entomological groups. And
Okay.
the importance for the Lebanese amber is not only because it is the oldest amber with biological inclusions, or one of, because we have another one from the Jurassic, also from Lebanon. But this period, in fact, the Lower Cretaceous, sorry, is a period which is crucial for understanding what was happening. So we have a drastic change in the all environment of the Earth between the extinction of the old groups that were dominant during the period before the angiosperm and the beginning of the new families of insects that appeared with the apparition of the flowering plants. So it's a really a crucial period where we can have a lot of information of the basement of the recent ecosystem that we have today.
Okay, so they are more important to reconstruct the story or to retrace the story for which we have many missing links at this period, and that can be studied.
And yes, and the Lebanese amber, it is a perfect period. I mean the lower Barremian to have all these missing links between different entomological groups.
Okay.
And sure, when we know the historical evolution of any group, we can better understand how to preserve it now and how to deal with this group, and we can also imagine how it's going to evolve even.
Okay, this is really fascinating. So going back to the technical aspect of all this, so you find an outcrop that has amber, and sometimes the amber has insect inclusions. And what happens next? So do you need a stereoscope or a microscope to study them? Are there any techniques that can help you?
Yes, certainly. If you find a piece of amber on the field, you will not be able to see anything inside because the material must be polished, must be prepared, must be cut, and it's a long or chronophagous preparation.
Okay, so you have to prepare everything before you are actually
Yes.
able to. Oh my God. Okay.
I'm totally preparing everything from the discovery of the outcrop till the finding of amber pieces and the insects inside, the preparation of the insects, the specimens and their study, and finally the publication of these new taxa. Till now, I have described more than 450 different taxa from different groups. I have also described several new families for science, and even a new order of insects. And now I'm studying another new order of insects, which is completely extinct today.
Okay, this is really interesting. It's really interesting that we can also look into that window and be able to find entire groups of insects that do not exist anymore today. And
And the most fascinating thing with the amber is really some neontologist colleagues, entomologists, they always say, okay, but fossils we always have some lacking information, but they are wrong, because whenever we have an inclusion inside the amber, it's perfectly preserved in a pristine way, in a 3D way, and we can just, and even sometimes we have the preservation of the ecosystem aspects like mating. Sometimes we have mating, we have parasitism, which is still preserved. So
okay.
It's like a window to the past, and like in a moment we have just a snapshot about the past during the living period of these insects.
Yes, and then just out of curiosity, do you sometimes get pollen preserved in there also?
Oh yes, certainly. Even inside the gut, and I was the first person in the world to be able to extract even fossil pollen from the gut of fossil insects inside the amber.
Okay, aren't they like, are they preserved in a way that they can still be dissected? This is completely fascinating. Okay.
Yes.
So I will jump on to the next section, which is more about how can people that are interested in the subject help with furthering the knowledge or the study of fossils in Lebanon. So how can the general public get involved if they are interested in this topic? Sorry.
Well, general public normally they are very well interested in some results of the studies because the research that are made on fossil insects and other fossils, they are just fascinating. Imagine you have some creature that were living and maybe not only living with like dinosaurs, for example, living with dinosaurs and eating parts of the dinosaurs, like sucking their blood, or so it's a complete world, in fact, from the past. So it's always fascinating. And since uh, more than 25 years, I am seeking to have an institution which is completely lacking in Lebanon. I mean, here a national museum of natural history in Lebanon. Oh, I'm struggling with this, and I'm sorry to say, but I always met a lot of responsibles, a lot of politicians, but they are all bad. So they don't know why we need a museum, while the museum is just an archive of the nature. So
Yes.
we are in a country. Lebanon is a country where we don't have a natural history museum. So this is really a shame for us in Lebanon.
Okay, so this is how governmental entities can get
Yeah.
involved to better
All I
this.
hope, yes,
Yes.
all I hope from the people, or I don't know, the NGOs or whatever, is to push and make pressure on the government and all the governmental entities to make or to create such type of institution, which is a big lack for Lebanon.
We really hope so, and at least in the future, we'll be able to deposit types of new species from Lebanon in Lebanon. So I really, really hope that we will be able to see this in the near future.
Yes, it's a shame for me, for example, to go and see some specimens, some holotypes and type material which is deposited in the state or in France or anywhere in this world, but not in Lebanon. So I am doing my best, and today I have more than 400 type material in my collection, which I'm depositing in the Lebanese university. But still, what we need is a natural national and a national natural history museum for the country.
Yes, I agree. And I really hope again that this will be possible in the near future. So,
Hopefully.
yes, I really hope so. For the closing section, I would like to ask you what advice you would give to people who are interested in studying fossils or interested in going in paleontology, if I didn't pronounce this wrong.
Yes. Well, I encourage all young people to be involved in studying everything which is related to nature in Lebanon. Either they are plants. We don't have a lot of plants experts in Lebanon. Either they are on fossils. Also on fossils, paleontologists in Lebanon are very scarce. Insects, entomology in general. So you're an entomologist, and you know that, well, it's not an easy task to make the taxonomy and to determine an insect. So we
Yes.
need urgently experts. And in Lebanon, I estimate the biodiversity and entomology between 16 and 18,000 insects, and all we know about them is less than 2,000 species. So, for instance, for example, for the bees, you were studying bees. And I can tell you that we estimate the bees in Lebanon about 1,200 and something like this, which
Yes,
is
yes,
which
1,000,
should
close
be,
to 1,000. Yes.
yes, which should be like the other surrounding countries. But what we know today, you can give a better
We
number.
know more or less 600, and yes, unpublished, we are touching the 700, but we still have a lot of work to do.
Yes, yes. So imagine this is for bees. Bees, people are normally do not afraid from bees, and
Yeah, they
uh,
are quite
they are interested in this. not like
friendly. Yes.
cockroach, for example, or other type of uncommon dipteras. But anyway, we need a lot of work still to know uh, the inhabitant of our country. And I say inhabitant because they are before us. These insects were before us and will remain
Yes.
after us. So these
Well,
are the original inhabitant of Lebanon.
I,
Uh, so I hope, and there is another thing, in fact, that studying natural living things in Lebanon is by far easier than all the other sciences. For example, for other type of sciences, I mean here genetics or molecular or whatever, or physics or whatever, we need really very big labs for this. While for studying insects, all what we need is to make a small collection and to have a good references and just a binocular to be able to study the details. That's it. So
yes.
it's a costless science with a lot of results.
Yes, I agree that we also have the paradox of being one of the most diverse countries in the world, but having very little expertise at a national level. So we really, really need more people working on working on taxonomy or just working, as you say, in biological fields in Lebanon,
I
because
count on you, Mira, to convince some young people.
I am I am trying. It's starting to pay off, but it did take me like 10 years. But I'll keep trying. It's yeah. I'm sure some young people will be convinced eventually and go into the field.
And people they don't normally like insects because they ignore them.
Well, yes, because they are small, because the only insects that we get in contact with are mosquitoes or
Yeah,
wasps that try to
because
steal
of
your
a bad
barbecue.
reputation, because of ignorance. And I can tell the most beautiful things that you can see is to see a fly. Even this blue flies. In fact, the
Yeah, or
California,
horse flies or house
which
flies.
are
Yes.
known to be the shit flies. But put them to put one of them under a microscope and observe it. Look to that colors. It's wonderful. You can only be in love with insect when you see it under a microscope.
Yeah, it's true. It's really a tiny world just waiting to be explored. So,
Yes.
do you have any closing ideas before we finish this talk? Is there anything else that you would like to add about the topic?
Well, I have a dream for our country is to have a national natural history museum. So I hope I will see this dream realized before I passed away in this from this world. Uh, and because I know in fact for Lebanon this is a hot spot for biodiversity. This is amazing. A small country like Lebanon, which is big like have a city in China, uh, with all the diversity that we have there. And it's a shame for our responsibles that they are not making any effort to valorize all this biodiversity, this wonderful biodiversity that we have. So we have politicians that are named responsible that are responsible of nothing. And it's a shame of us to have such type of uh, politicians, let's say. And I want to be really soft with them.
Okay. Okay. Well, uh, thank you again for highlighting the importance of having an institution or natural history museum in Lebanon. And thank you very much for your time and for this talk. I really enjoyed this. This was very interesting.
You're welcome. And I would like to say it in Lebanese, أهلا وسهلا.
Merci كتير.